Welcome back to another, it's me, Cam from Camscom. Welcome back to another daily Chelsea transfer news video. Today I'll be talking in depth in Moises Caicedo, Dusan Vlahovic, Tyler Adams and all things Chelsea. So if you're new, I'm Cam from Camscom and I do daily Chelsea transfer news videos. Caicedo's looking to be close, so if you could like and subscribe, that would help me a lot. But without further ado, let's get in the first story. Now, as I just mentioned, Caicedo is looking closer than he's ever looked, and that's because mainly he is out of the Brighton squad for today's game. I'm going to go to Fabrizio Romano, who has said Moises Caicedo not in Brighton squad for today's friendly game comes with a clear message from the player side he wants to leave this summer. Negotiations with Chelsea remain ongoing, but Brighton insist on their position. Bid has not been approved to make the deal happen. And I'm going to carry on swiftly to Caicedo, who has said, following on from Paul Barber's comments on Caicedo, there are still counterclaims that he's not injured, did not want to play and wants Chelsea as soon as possible. Classic Brighton manoeuvre. Paul Barber, Brighton's director of football, has come out and said, yeah, Caicedo's injured, that's why he's not playing. Where have I heard this before? Oh yeah, last year when we were trying to sign Marc Cucurella from Brighton, Potter was saying the same things. Yeah, he's injured, that's why he's not playing. When in reality, he's probably been forced either by the manager or himself to not play because he wants to push for the move for Chelsea and not get injured. These are telltale signs always before a deal is done, players pushing and not playing for their clubs. But another story that came out yesterday that kind of makes this deal look even more sweeter. Fabrizio Romano basically is talking about how Kudus officially starts for Ajax as Brighton agreed a €40 million fee in July. Still waiting to agree on parcel terms as mentioned yesterday. Not a done deal, more content to follow. Get it done on the player side. Well, yeah, Kudus, who of course was Chelsea's backup option or attacking option with Elise. Well, that gives us two things. Firstly, that Brighton are expecting money from Caicedo to go on to Kudus, who's not really a replacement but another midfielder in replace of Caicedo, and it means Chelsea, are out the race for Kudus, so we're going to go all in on Michael Elise. No more Elise news today, but of course I'll be talking about him more later because that looks like he's going to be our attacking prospect. But yeah, good news for Caicedo as it looks like he's going to be leaving and Brighton are probably going to use his money on Kudus. And finally, Sam J. Dean from Telefootball has said Chelsea preparing a new bid for Moises Caicedo and remain intent on signing him before the start of the Premier League season. Well, I put posts like once or every 2 days about Caicedo signings, and 52 of you have voted. I think it's 85% of you think that Caicedo is going to be bought before game week 1 against Liverpool. It's nice to know that Chelsea fans haven't lost all composure after this deal lasting 2 months. I remember it was the same with players like Kai Havertz and Enzo Fernandez, but to a bigger scale and a lot more money. £100 million is probably what the deal's going to be like. Maybe a 95, just so we can say we didn't get the 100 million, which we say we wouldn't. But yeah, I think this deal is getting closer than ever. On to the next story. And from Caicedo to Caicedo alternatives, I'm going to go to Fabrizio Romano, who has said Chelsea have made contact with Tyler Adams' camp to be informed on conditions of the deal. Focus remains on Caicedo, separate talks and separate story. Well, yeah, Chelsea, as I've mentioned many times this season, don't just put all their eggs in one basket. As we've seen, we've been signing lots of players on the side, focusing on Caicedo. The thing with Tyler Adams is, it would be good to sign him with Caicedo, but definitely not sign him instead of Caicedo, which is the only caveat I want to say. Simon Jones from the Mail Sport carries on by saying Chelsea is set to trigger Tyler Adams' 20 million release clause, according to Simon Jones from Mail Sport. Yep. Leeds, I think they lost to Cardiff today, so he's going to be even more excited to get out of the Championship and to the Premier League. Good player, solid backup really in the midfield. Could also, still young, so could progress into his prime, but the main thing I want to say is it's not going to be good enough to not get Caicedo and have a Tyler Adams and Enzo Fernandez midfield. If we want to challenge this year, I've said this many times, the Caicedo and Enzo midfield is what's going to help us a lot. On to the next story. And touching on the Vlahovic deal that is being changed. We thought it was going to be a swap deal. Lukaku plus €40 million for Dusan Vlahovic. Juventus were on board, Chelsea was semi on board, but Lukaku was definitely on board to leave Chelsea to go to Juventus. I'm not sure Juventus fans are, but I'm going to go to Damasio, who has said Juventus have a new idea to present to Chelsea. If Lukaku does well with Juventus, then they will pay €50 million, £43 million to Chelsea, and then Chelsea will pay £69 million for Vlahovic. So it's looking like it's just going to be a one-way Lukaku, other way Chelsea. I'm not sure whether this is first a loan and then they spend the £43 million. I'm not sure what they mean if Lukaku does well. I'm guessing maybe that's with his medical. But yeah, £69 million for Vlahovic is a bit steep. but I guess if you take the money off that we got from Lukaku, it's only really about £30 million for an exciting young striker. Of course, when he was in Fiorentina and when he just joined Juventus, there weren't many young strikers in the world that were much better than him, but coming off an injury, only scoring 10 goals, yeah, I'm a bit apprehensive, but Pochettino has said many times whether he wants to focus on Brozier and Jackson or look for a new striker. Of course, he's not going to say no to one of the most exciting young talents in football, but really for £69 million, I think the money could be spent elsewhere. On to the next story. And finally, ending on Fabrizio Romano, who has said Angelo Gabriel will join Strasbourg on loan. The plan has never changed, as Chelsea want him to develop playing as a regular starter. Chelsea want to proceed the same way with David Washington once they are close to deal with Santos. So David Washington looks like that deal for €20 million is going to be done from Santos. Of course, we're just plucking these young Brazilians from Santos and just pushing them to Strasbourg. Hopefully they can build a bit of connection, get some game time, and that's the main thing, get some game time. And Chelsea would be helping Strasbourg, and Strasbourg could push for a little European space after just surviving from relegation last year. Definitely Chelsea fans, I'm going to be watching Strasbourg. Let me know if you are, because I think giving them a helping hand along with extra money so they can sign players of their own is going to be very exciting. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for more Chelsea transfer news.